Welcome, everyone, to today's What They Think webinar, Digital Finishing the Last Mile. All participants' lines will be in listen-only mode throughout the call. If you'd like to submit a question or comment to the presenters, please type your question into the box at the bottom of your screen on your viewer console and click Submit button to the right. Presenters will respond to questions via email following the webinar. Today's call is being recorded and will be available in the What They Think archive for later viewer. It is now my pleasure to introduce your host, Carrie Sherburne. Please go ahead.
Hi, everyone. This is Carrie, and Kevin, thank you very much. I'd like to add my welcome to Kevin's. Welcome to today's session, Digital Finishing the Last Mile, which is sponsored by Highcon. We're delighted to welcome nearly 200 senior printing executives from around the world who have registered for this event. We have a great opportunity today to hear from innovative companies who are taking digital finishing to the next level for new and innovative ways to grow their own businesses and those of their customers. You might want to download the PDF of today's slides using the link on your console. They contain some great info and that I'm sure you're going to want to review later on. We also have a link to download the white paper of the same name by clicking on the graphic on the left of your viewer console. This white paper won't be generally available for another week, and we're glad to be able to provide this to you early as an extra bonus for attending this session. In a week or so, you can also find the white paper link on What They Think's homepage. Our hashtag for this event and for all What They Think webinars for you Twitter users is WTTWebinar. We encourage you to tweet your thoughts during the session. Remember also that your questions are an important part of this session, so please submit them as early in the presentation as you can to enable our experts to answer them live. You'll see a questions box on your user console. I'd also like to take this opportunity to thank Highcon for making this important educational session possible. Highcon delivers the innovation and differentiation that converters and printers and their brand owner customers have been waiting for, transforming finishing into a value-added process to positively impact profitability. We're very pleased today to have two great panelists, well, three actually, with us today, representing leading-edge companies in commercial print and packaging. They'll have lots to say about how digital finishing has enhanced their businesses. It's my pleasure to welcome Jay Mandarino, CEO of the CJ Group of Companies in Canada. Welcome, Jay.
Thank you, Carrie, and listeners.
Ward McLaughlin, and Ward McLaughlin and Bill Lorenz from Boutwell, Owens in Massachusetts. Welcome, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, all.
So what I'd like to do is start with having each of these companies introduce themselves. So, Jay, do you want to tell us a little bit about your group of 23 companies?
Sure. I don't know if there's any Canadians, but if there are, how are you all doing? And hi to everybody else out there in the U.S. and around the world. And thanks for taking the time to listen to us speak today. My introduction will take 35 minutes, but I'll try to do it in 5 for you. Just kidding. Without humor, we wouldn't be in business. So I started the CJ Group of Companies in high school. In Canada, we have grade 13. We don't anymore. And I started as basically a print broker and then followed that through university. We then started in 1981, bought our first printing press, and then incorporated. And now we have 24 companies, but as of 1 hour ago, we just took over another 6. You'll hear more about that later down the road. We have 3 facilities. They're all state-of-the-art. We've won more Bennies and awards than any printer in North America in the last 9 years. And this year we just won 6 Bennies and I think 47 Award of Merit, so we do a lot of high quality work as well. Our different facilities include different things such as, I guess I got to push the slides here, sorry guys. There's a little introduction there, yada yada. So these are all the different logos of the different related companies. We have everything from magazines. We have a digital division. We have a large format division. We have a 3D division where we actually sell 3D printers, both that work from paper and from plastic. We have a screen division. We have 3 screen presses. One of the largest screen presses in the world does a 5x10 sheet. We have a logistics solutions company. We have an awards contest. We have a publishing company. We have a few magazines. And we have an interactive division where we built our own platform called CJ Drive. And it's basically an online order solution and a marketing CMS system, and that has about 10 people from programmers and interactive people that work on that, which has been great. We're in 3 facilities. The first picture is our main litho facility, which is roughly 40,000 square feet. We're about 10 minutes from the airport, 10 minutes from downtown, so location, as you all know, location is very key. Our next facility here with, of course, the lovely American flag flying, and our Canadian flag's down. I don't know why, but anyway. That is our digital and our skateboard park. What? Our skateboard park? Yes, we have the 4th largest indoor not-for-profit skateboard park in the world. It's one of our charities that we're involved with, working with kids with cancer, Asperger's, and a whole bunch of other things, and it's great to take some clients out there and have fun. So it gives us a little freedom. Can't say you've heard that every day, I bet. This is our newest facility, state-of-the-art, 75,000 square foot. This includes all our large format. It has a display room. It actually has a museum of old printing equipment that goes back as far as 1725. So if you are ever up in Toronto, come take a visit. There's some amazing stuff there. And it's all been climate controlled, humidity controlled. It's just absolutely stunning. It took us a year to basically rebuild from the inside, and that's pretty cool. This is a few of the awards. Those are Inuksuks for our fellow people outside of Canada, which is similar to an American scarecrow. The Inuit use them to scare away the bison from their camps, and those are environmental awards for one of the top environmental awards here in Canada. There's, of course, one of our bennies, and me being silly in front of our XL presses. Another funny picture, yeah. So we made a few covers. This is the cover of Graphic Monthly. We were named Printer of the Year a couple of years ago. There's holding my skateboard. Yes, I still skateboard at 54. Jumped over a Ferrari in 1975. That was my one moment of fame because the kids go, I can't find that on YouTube. I said, yeah, we didn't have YouTube back then. Anyway, so that's the end of my presentation. And any questions, please, as Carrie has said, ask. And we hope to share our knowledge and help fight the battle out there of increasing prints for everybody.
And this is Ward McLaughlin. We're a privately held company. We have 4 partners within the operation. Bill Lorenz is one of the major partners within Boutwell Owens, and myself. The company's been around since 1887. We have 2 primary functions. One is packaging and the other is commercial. We have a commercial facility down in El Paso, Texas, which also does packaging. We're very fortunate. The key to our business has been our employees, more important than even the equipment, but their ability to grasp the marketing concept and where we're going and how we're doing it. The first slide that you see here is putting up so that most of our customers, and whoops, gotta shut that. Most of our customers, as you can see there, as the world changes, people are getting more into being green, and the initiatives that are set forth to us by the retailing business. And we pride ourselves on being able to accommodate our customers and, again, bring them into the new world.
And, Ward, could you speak up a little bit? People are having a little trouble hearing you.
Okay. The company itself is printed paperboard packaging, holograph printing, embossing, die cutting, coating, folding cartons, blister and insert cards, sustainable packaging, and pre-press services. Sustainability is a major factor within us. We did it because we felt it was the right thing. We actually tried to save farms. We got involved with buying carbon credits, and helping, again, the farmers keep their farmlands. It's always about the aggregate mix and the volume. There's nothing major about our business and how you run and what the drivers are, except for innovations and technology, which we're heavily invested in. Great moments come from a great opportunity. I think that's Herb Brooks, and that's how we live our business. Sometimes we call it the bleeding edge, but it is a great opportunity for both our customers and ourselves to be bringing business in and being ahead of the curve. Our printing is an HP Indigo 30,000, especially finishing and coatings, cutting and creasing with the Highcon Euclid. It's been a major factor to us, and it helps a lot with customers. That's Boutwell Owens.
Well, since no one's talking, I'll say something.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I was on mute. I'm sorry, I apologize. I was still on mute.
This is a commercial break. Please right now send $29.95 US to CJ Graphics or to Boutwell Owens. We'll be happy to take your deposit.
Go split it.
So Ward, one of the things I wanted to have you share with people is, when your company was founded and what the first project the company did, because I thought that was pretty interesting.
Well, the first packaging project that Boutwell was involved in was the Victrola needle for all the for the record players.
So that was a while ago.
That was quite a while ago, and that's where we got our start into packaging, and it kept on evolving right from there. We go back to the beginning. It's only been the business has only been in 2 families, and I'm very fortunate to be only the 6th CEO of this company since 1887.
Wow, that's great. That's a great story. So what I wanted to start with is, and I'll start with you, Ward and Bill, perhaps you could talk a little bit about why you were looking for a digital cutting and creasing solution, some of the gaps in your production platform and the market trends that were creating those gaps.
Well, I'll put one part was with Bill Lorenz, and he'll explain to you more about from the manufacturing point of view. Go ahead, Bill.
All right. Well, I think probably the biggest thing, as Ward already mentioned, that we entered into the digital age in this facility in Massachusetts by installing a HP 30,000. So that was right up the alley of being able to match what we could do on our offset presses. And we did that. We made that investment because our customers' runs, just like everybody listening, our customers' runs are getting smaller and smaller and smaller and more SKUs. So trying to be more competitive, bring better options to the customer, let's put that digital printing on the floor. Well, knowing that, we already had what I'll call an issue from the manufacturing side. We had very, very small runs, a lot of one-time, two-time runs, but a lot of real small runs. So if you walk around our facilities, you'll see a lot of dies, with dies everywhere. So we had one thing, reduce our make-ready, reduce our die costs of existing business. Knowing what we were getting into, adding the digital platform, now we're going to start printing work that we don't have already, not just short-run business, but brand new business, one-time business. That's another need for dies. How are you going to get that kind of business through the operation? So that's how we started talking to Highcon, and that's years ago, started talking to Highcon about what they were developing, how it could help us, and where do we go. So that's kind of how we ended up purchasing the Highcon, and it's whatever it's been now, 5 months that we've had it, it certainly has been what we expected it to be.
That's great. That's really great. And then, Ward, were you going to add something?
Well, from the sales point of view, just like Bill said, we were looking at the cost of dies and entering into the market. We do a lot of one-time business, but that was from a manufacturing point that helped make the justification. But also from the sales side, we now had an opportunity to build products that customers could take the handcuffs off and actually turn around and design things that were very unique to the industry. The things that they were told, and designers were told, that they could not get through a manufacturing process before or prior because the tooling costs were so exorbitant, now was not going to be a barrier. And the cutting and the tools and the things, the intricacy that we're able to achieve and actually help our customers differentiate themselves in a marketplace and take a position in the retail market as well as internally promote themselves as a brand, now it's rising very quickly. People are taking advantage of it. They're starting to look at it in a very positive way of how they position themselves to be that different kind of company, whereas before it was prohibitive because of the tooling costs.
Yeah, and lead times too, right?
Oh, the lead times. Our die lead time wasn't that bad. But it was still a couple of days. We've actually produced a brand new product. We've taken in the file in the morning and had that product out at the end of the day in a glued state. and the Highcon. We couldn't have done it without the Highcon.
Yeah, that's terrific. And Jay, as a commercial printer, and I think you might do a little bit of packaging, but primarily as commercial print, can you talk a little bit about why you decided to go in this direction?
No, I can't at this time. No, just kidding.
It's just got installed, right?
Basically, I was at Graph Expo, and I was standing right beside the machine. I said, "This is amazing." Our VP of Sales and I looked at it, and we just saw the opportunities just by looking at some of the samples there. And to be honest, anything made in Israel right now is just phenomenal. So we did wanted to have more of that technology here because they really are leading the world there. And we do some laser stuff that we've been sending out. There's no one really in this market. We have the first one in Canada, and it was just installed last week, and we're just running a couple jobs right now, so it's very exciting. And it's interesting, as we just opened this new facility, and it's in our showroom, people have been starting to come in through, and they're all just enamored, and they're all actually now looking at creating jobs differently. And, for us, we're always trying to be on leading edge and always trying to do unique things, and this just was a simple solution. And the fact that it can do a 40-inch sheet was just thrilling to us because other machines we had looked at, could not do a large sheet like that. And we do a fair amount of packaging, not to the extent that our friends south of the border do, but we do a lot of video and DVD packages still, and a lot of folders, and it's important, and some folding cartons for some of the market up here in Canada. So this machine was just perfect for that, and we're going to use it for some of our magazine covers. Actually, the next cover, Design Edge, which we're doing right now, is going to be on there. So it's pretty cool. So we're excited about it. Our clients are excited about it. And, no one probably ever wants to talk about this, but, go figure, everybody wants to make more money. Well, we love that this is, a big investment for someone to make, but you can actually make money out of it, and realistically, it's one of the probably growth areas to make some profitability. Like anything, it takes time, and you got to market it, and you got to work it, but we're very excited about the possibilities with this.
That's great. And you mentioned your magazine, The Design Edge, which I understand has about a circulation of about 11,000 across Canada?
11,123, but who's counting?
And that's in Canadian dollars.
Yeah, so it's about 3,000 American editions, with the exchange rate right now.
Right. And so because our next discussion point is really how you're engaging internal and external designers to better take advantage of these new capabilities. And so that's one way, because it's an education process, right, Jay?
Always a challenge when you have new technology, you have the best machine in the world, the best people, is, how do you get your clients to get into it and start adapting it and design around it? Well, designers luckily are incredibly creative, so we do a lot of workshops where we have them come in and sit down and work with a person at our place who shows different options. And we do a big annual open house every year where we have about 1,800 people through. And this year's open house invitation card, it's a fundraising party as well. But they were so excited when I said, they said, well, we're not sure if we want to do this image or this image. I said, hey, here's an idea. I said, we have this new Highcon. Why don't we do 10 different images? You can have each of your designers design one, and we'll print some of each of them, so almost variable in a way, and multiple designs will go out there of different objects being laser die cut through paper. Well, they just went crazy on it. They loved it. They were actually in yesterday, looked at the machine, talking with some of our experts and the gentleman from Highcon and what they could do and they couldn't do. So, once they start all designing, then everybody will say, hey, where did you get that? Where did you get that? I think one of the huge areas right now, and I think this is true of all of North America, probably all of the world, although people probably don't want to admit this, is direct mail is coming back in a huge way because we're all getting inundated with emails. We don't have time to respond to them. And even when we do, we can't read the whole thing. So, when you get something nicely designed and die cut out that looks different and unique in your mail, you're most likely going to probably open that. So, in Canada, we've got laws now that you cannot email people unless they give you permission. There's actually, legislation against this, which is great for printers. So I think this will spread, and you're going to start seeing more people realize that print is not dead and people need to print to communicate. And, the best thing I always say is people want to touch and feel, and that's never going to go away. So when you have something like this, I'm just very excited about it. I think it's going to be great.
That's great. And Ward and Bill, Bill or Ward, you had talked about this taking the handcuffs off of designers. Maybe you could sort of talk a little bit more about how you implement that or what you've been doing in terms of engaging those designers.
Go ahead, Ward.
Yeah, one of the keys has been Highcon themselves. Highcon has actually given us the tools to work with samples and ideas. They've actually put the top designers in front of us to help us bring in concepts and be able to develop them. And then we're putting out samples and bringing them to the customers, whether it be a chocolatier or whether it be a pharmaceutical or whether it be a cosmetic or any kind of business. That people, when you put something in front of them, the eyes start to take hold. Until they actually see something, they cannot visualize what it is you're talking about. Highcon is, I can't say enough about the company because of how they base themselves. We met them prior to Drooper, the last Drooper, and Bill Lorenz has been engaged with them over 6 years. So watching how they built and how they came in and put a platform together to build a machine that helped promote business, but they built the machine to our specifications. They didn't put out a machine and say, now come and buy it. They turned around and built to what an industry needed. And anything that we've had as a concern or whatever, they've actually come in and either reprogrammed, put in new solutions, or said it will be coming. It's a very proactive company. I mean, you must have been amazed at when you put your machine in how fast that hit your floor and came up. Ours was 3-day installation.
Yeah, we're shocked at how much time it's taken. It's amazing. You're correct.
Until we were producing pieces, and I mean that's in our kind of industry. And when you're talking about that kind of a machine, 3 days is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's I've never seen anything like it.
And they stand behind their product.
Yes,
they stand behind it. They understand it, and they support you.
We have one guy still standing behind ours right now.
And that's a key. That's a key. They do not let you go until they feel good that you got it.
I believe wasn't he just at your place, our guy, actually, Modi? Did you have Modi as your installer? Or?
He has been in, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he has been in, yes.
He was telling us about these great people down in Boston. I said, they must be packaging people.
Absolutely.
So that's really been it. I mean, Highcon's helped us.
Yeah, and I think to add to Bill's point, if you don't mind, I think the great thing about Highcon is they really understand that, they're trying to start a users group where we all can share information. And I think this is where some of the other people in the industry have failed. And, because it's not like there's a Highcon every, 100 feet away, right? They're smart that way, not putting one. There's going to be obviously ones in multiple cities, but there's no reason why everybody can't share and work together because we're all in this to be successful. So I think they're behind that idea, and we're excited to work with the other people who have these machines and share our knowledge and make it better for everybody.
I mean, these machines have allowed us to do phase-ins, phase-outs, sampling cost-effectively, trade show presentations, product launches, test markets for our customers. Again, it continuously helps us help our customers grow their businesses.
Yeah, it's funny.
It's interesting. One thing, I think maybe it was you, Ward, that told me this, but a customer comes to you and says, gosh, I've got these 15 different designs. I really don't know what to do, and you're like, do them all.
Yeah.
That's exactly. Today, it's not a question because it's not a question of tooling. Tooling is so insignificant to the total cost of what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? People are not willing to pay for it. I mean, we hear in our industry all the time, lower pricing. But, if you have a solution that at the end of the day is going to sell more products of whatever your client is selling, they'll gladly spend the money to make more money. It's not an issue. So you're right. Run all 15, test market it, see which one's going to, in some areas are different. That's the great thing about it is, you're not making a die for each one, so you do have that choice to make multiple copies. And yes, when you get into more intricate things, it normally would take a lot longer, and you'd have to redo the die because it would never work perfectly. This you can do on the fly, so it's great that way.
So Ward and Bill, maybe you could talk a little bit about some of the unique applications you've created, and I understand that there are a couple of stories like maybe in the golfing industry where you've actually opened up whole new business areas.
Go ahead, Ward.
Okay. Well, one of them is the in the golf industry. It helped the customer diversify in their OEM market into a B2C business, helped them grow their business. It also opened a platform to create a new niche in the B2B business by tailoring it directly to golf courses. So again, golf courses.
And these are custom or personalized golf ball packages, right?
Correct, exactly.
Yeah.
And now, even with the Highcon, they're able to add another element to even bring themselves to another whole way of looking at something. And what it was indicating, I mean, it's not about price; it's about getting the solutions and bringing them, because they're selling these packages for $50-$60 when they normally get $30-$40 for a package of golf balls. They're getting 60 or more. So they're able to expand and get the monies at their end as well. And it opened up a major business model for them. We have a medical company that actually helped put them into a market, into the European market, and launch new products. The European market being much smaller than the U.S., so they didn't have the volumes. Between the HP and the Euclid, we were able to furnish them smaller volumes and get them into and do product launches in a timely manner, which from a corporate management point of view, major kudos. when the management turns around and they make their launches, it's a major thing because it's bonus time for them.
Right.
Bringing products into. So we became a major factor to a lot of companies, and the name has gotten out there. Automotive, we turned around, and now we put a bunch of automotive companies into a niche where they can do small volumes. How many Model A's are there out on the road? There's just so many filters or whatever. So when they make the packaging, they don't have to look. They can buy 100 boxes for this year. They don't have to go for a price point of $2,000 and then ditch 2,000 or ditch 1,900 of them. So their obsolescence is no longer a factor in writing off. You got to look at true cost. You know, people, you've got to educate your customers to quit thinking about unit cost and get them into the total cost of their products. And that is where I think our selling and working with our salespeople, that is the true factor of reselling what we do. Yes, it is a little more, but the value is actually a lot less because when you put in the obsolescence, they can buy exactly what they want.
So we did have a question from the audience. We don't necessarily need to be specific on the pricing, but these golf clubs that are getting the golf ball boxes with their own club name on it or event special ones or whatever, they're paying actually more, right, than they would have paid just to get a generic one, and they're happy.
Oh, yes, they are.
They're certainly paying more. They're paying more, yes.
Yeah.
And it's branching off into other things that they do as a company, so other things that they supply.
You know, it's interesting because one of the other companies that I talked to, Glossop Cartons in the UK, they've started to build a huge wedding business because they can do these beautifully die-cut and almost pop-out like wedding invitations, and then the decorations for the wedding. So cut out baubles that go on the back of the chairs, and lanterns that can be used to light the way down the aisle to the altar, all kinds of interesting things. Did you mention that you're also doing a little bit of wedding stuff?
We haven't done any of the wedding stuff yet, but I will say Glossop, I think, maybe they were the first installation, so they've been a little longer than all of us. But they have done absolutely fabulous work. The work that they do and the design, it does take a while. You asked the question earlier aboard it. It takes a while to get designers to understand the things that they can do now. That they can actually, that's okay to design that way. So now they got to think about designing, and then now you can do it. It's I think back to whatever it was, maybe 25 years ago, with having direct to plate and being able to take a photo and have a customer go on tour and have it printed for them by the time they went through the building, and that was pretty cool. And Then you had digital printing. But to take it to the level that you can actually etch their name into a package before they get out of the department is pretty neat. That's a level that, I certainly didn't imagine 15 years ago.
It's interesting because in a way it's the same sort of story that we fought with digital printing for so many years, where people would say, "Oh, but the cost per page is more." But then you have to really look at the total cost of ownership. What does faster
Absolutely.
time to market mean to you? How much are you throwing away, and all of those things. So, maybe the designers aren't as concerned about that, but certainly the brand owners would be.
They certainly are, and that's the total cost, as Ward mentioned. Total cost is the big picture. If you get to the right people, you have a wonderful story to tell.
And Jay, your idea of the design magazine, that comes out, every other month?
Yes, we print 6 issues a year. It was basically started off as it was a publication started many years ago, and they sold it, so we purchased it, and it was a way to really support the design and creative community in Canada. And so now we basically, every cover we try to show something different. The inside we show something different, and then we, we're one of the advertisers. We have a few other advertisers there as well, but we obviously try to promote our services, and it's the best way of getting a message across to every single art director and designer in the country. So it's great that way.
Yeah, that's terrific. So let's talk. We talked a little bit about how you're selling these new capabilities, and I'm wondering if either of you felt like you needed any kind of new sales talent to properly sell this, or your current sales force can handle it.
We have a piece being designed specifically for this. Whenever we have a new piece of equipment or a new technology, we have a brochure designed by a leading design company, which while they get involved with it, it's great because then they learn more about the product itself, and then we launch that and send that out to everybody, and it's just wildfire. People just start calling, right? So it's great.
That's all you have to do is send things out, Jay. Just send something out, and they start calling and give you POs.
They do in our neck of the woods because there's no one else really doing this. You have a few more competitors down there. We're sort of a unique. The CJ brand is really sort of unique for that. We're very fortunate that way.
Well, our way of selling, we use in our current salespeople. The hardest thing was that they're going in for a lot less dollars in sales, but it was teaching them what it opens and the loyalty that it brings you to that customer, because now the customer can now get as I said, the product launches on a timely basis. Overnight we could basically do it, and we can turn around and also do a lot of the higher graphic capabilities, but then also do the cutting edge of cutting and etching, as Bill described earlier. And so our salespeople are starting to learn about the loyalty and what it breaks in, because customers want to be near what can support them.
So one of the questions we had come in was about the ROI, wanting to know if the ROI comes primarily from cost savings, with no dies and stuff, or new market opportunities, or premium pricing. I mean, how does the ROI come in? And maybe you could start with that, Ward or Bill.
I'll give Bill this one.
He gets the hard questions.
Our CFO loved this one, so.
Well,
I guess, too, it depends who's asking the question.
Yeah,
you're right. Well, the CFO was asking me, so I can tell you that. We do make a lot of dies, and when you start talking about make-ready time on press, needed capacity on the floor, so cost of dies, capacity, they all have a huge value. So it really wasn't hard for us. It wasn't hard because of the number of dies we make, the number of dies we can now avoid, and the number of make-readies that we avoid. Generally speaking, that it makes sense in our world that if you're going to cut something more than a couple times, you're probably going to want to have a die on hand. It's not something that you're going to go back to the Highcon every week and run the same design over and over and over, unless it is something that you've created that you can't do conventionally. Then, of course, you're going to go back to the Highcon. But it's the conventional type folding carton, small volume, run every week, you'd still run that probably conventionally because it's, fast in and out in the same die. But we have so much work that we're building that is a 1 and 2 time. Payback for the machine will take care of itself.
And how does this sort of change in business model, I mean, not that you have a choice, but the shorter runs, the faster turn times, how has that really changed your operating model?
Well, it has. It's changed to the point that we had that vision of knowing that when we did this and we made some of the other changes, that it would change. And we're kind of looking at it with a completely different group that are running that business as far as our front end. How do we get orders through faster? A typical folding carton, I guess if you ask around North America, typical folding carton lead times, you're 2 to 3 weeks. That's generally what's happening. Yes, there are the 1 week lead times, but when you get into this world, now you're talking about things that we're always talking days, and it's a matter of, is it multiple days or is it 1 day? So you do have to have a different front end to handle it. You have to have the horsepower in your pre-press. You have to have everything lined up so you can support what you have to sell, because it's a pretty smart customer base out there. They know what your capabilities are, and they want you to make sure you use it every day.
And so the Indigo 30,000 was a critical part of the investment as well, then?
It was definitely step one. Yes, it certainly was. That was key because our world of, Jay mentioned earlier, 40-inch. I didn't mention it, but that was huge to us in a couple different ways. The 30,000 is basically it's a 2029. It'll run up to 24 points. So it gets very, very close to what we can do on our 2840 presses. But the Highcon supports both the digital and our 2840 because it will run a full sheet off the offset presses. If it's a small quantity or if it's something that's going to be printed and they need specialty cutting, we can take it over to Highcon. It's not a small sheet. So a lot of flexibility.
And Bill is really the one who saw this vision within several years ago. I mean, I'm going back 6 years ago. Bill saw this whole vision of digital printing and digital die cutting, and he stayed right in it with the manufacturer. And when he put the HP in Boutwell, it wasn't a question of whether we were getting the Highcon or not. I think he had already pre-made that, and it was now just working with Highcon. And
well, you did ask me what that extra space was for.
Yeah, I kept on asking him what the extra. He built a special room for this, and I kept on looking at this large space, and I asking him what's going there, and he just kept on smirking at me.
Carrie, for us, one of the key factors is we do a lot of pocket folders, and so now basically we talk the clients into doing them uniquely so they can all go on the Highcon. It basically means that our competitors can't offer the same thing. So it guarantees us getting the job, basically, and giving the client a great product. I mean, it's amazing. You start creating your own market, and you work with your designers. Most of our clients are generally designers' agencies. We have multiple presses, so at any given day, we've got at least 30, 40 people through the three different facilities doing press checks, so we have that great audience all the time. We just get to show them samples. And they take it back, and they'll design around it.
That's great. And what about doing business for the trade? Because we've been talking about the designers and brand owners, but isn't there an opportunity to do trade business?
For ourselves, we stay away from a lot of that. We do some, but it's not our core business. But obviously there will be people approaching us, and we will certainly consider it and work with whoever we can work with. But we're going to keep this machine pretty busy, so I don't know if there'll be time for that.
Yeah, I think we're probably in the same position as Jay on that one.
But
okay.
it has opened doors. We do business with people, so it's with the trade.
Yeah, I mean, this machine it's a big investment, and it's not just the machine, right? It's the whole infrastructure. some of the people have been asking questions about how do you communicate this and everything. I mean, you have to make a big investment, just like you've heard from everybody else. Your sales force has got to go out there. You have to, you have to do tons of show and tells and lunch and learns with people. They need to see this stuff. Designers are visual people. You can do all the great stuff on the web, but when you show them, when we see, and we've been promoting it for a while now, and when you show people that finished product, you watch their eyes and they just go, wow, you could do this. And their creativity is just, there's no limit to it. Bill's quote, take off the handcuffs. And, generally you would never be able to design a lot of things you'd want to design without this technology. So it's really exciting that way. And, we're all looking for different areas to be more profitable and not compete against 10 people. When you have one of these, unless you've got someone within, 25, 30 miles of you, it's, you don't have to worry about that.
I don't even think that, and you're correct 100%. We're building self-promos that are highlighting exactly this, both the HP and the Highcon, by making intricate pieces so that we can bring them to the industry, bring them to our customers. As we drop them off, as we go through the literature and we're updating our existing customers as well as new prospects. We're saying, now look, this is our piece. Imagine what you can do and what you can bring it to.
Yeah, and we're really all solution providers. I don't really, I know everybody calls us winners and stuff, but we're really solving challenges for the client. And this will happen to all of us and to everybody who's listening. At one point in your life, there'll be someone calling you at 4 o'clock, and they're saying, you know what, we just got these invitations. They're not good. We got to redo them. When can we redo them? And it's those small little jobs that you can save them and turn it around and become a hero. And then all of a sudden, you have access to potentially their whole business just from one little job. And with the Highcon, the great thing is, I mean, you could do that in a few hours, especially with the combination, like Bill mentioned, of digital technology. It's amazing. You literally could do something in a couple hours, redo it, and get it out to the client.
One other thing I thought was pretty interesting is that Highcon partnered with a paper artist out of Germany, Peter Dahmen, who we mentioned will be at Graph Expo. And while probably your average user isn't going to do the level of complexity of things that he does, like pop-ups and reproductions of the Eiffel Tower and things like that, it's another way to really show people how they can take off the handcuffs.
Yeah,
we actually have the Eiffel. Yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry, but we're excited he's been there, and I actually think that's really important because it becomes art, and you got a whole other market that we don't even think about with fine artists, and now they don't have to do 10,000 or 5,000. They could literally do 10 pieces, or they could do a sculpture piece, or they could do certificates that they're giving out. I mean, there's just so many things that it's just endless, the possibilities.
So, in terms of getting in touch with the designers, let's go back to that for a minute. Jay, you've got your magazine and you've got your large open house that's related to some of your other businesses. And Ward and Bill, maybe you could talk a little bit about how you get to those people, because maybe you weren't really talking to them directly before, or maybe you were.
Well, some of the we've cut our own pieces. We've made a portfolio, and plus Highcon has helped us with some design structure capabilities. We didn't have a lot of this prior. Our designers were box people. They had the handcuffs on. They were even bringing them out of the box has been hard. They still want to think about, because they still have the two worlds. They still are dealing in the handcuff world, which is our main flow, and they deal in the uncuffed world, where they can have looseness and flexibility. So we jump in and out of that world, but they weren't used to the other world because they always had to make things that were machinability and fit for graphic ability. And so we've had that conflict going on the outside and finding things like that Peter is doing. I mean, you go on his website, and it's phenomenal. It will blow you away, and you can spend a whole day, which I have, sat there and looked at all of his structures from YouTube to YouTube to YouTube, and it's unbelievable, and I'm amazed at some of the things that he does, and I go, we can do that. We can do that. And so it's being able to meet him, and Bill is going to have that opportunity, and to have that communication and actually have an outlet to get more capabilities. Plus, Highcon has actually got other people internally that also are helping you through the structure capabilities and learning how to do things. They don't just put a machine and teach an operator. They teach a CAD person. They've taught our designers. They've come in and done a lot of other things. So it was a massive. They did depth selling, and they did depth education throughout our operation. They actually came in and did it with our salespeople to help educate them so that they could better grasp. So that it wasn't just my words. It was an outsider's bringing it in and showing them the capabilities of what they can do. So they've helped us out an awful lot.
In the white paper, we also highlighted another company, American Greetings, that has one of these. And while they're in a little bit different line of business, one of the things he pointed out was for them, for the greeting card business, if they wanted to do pop-ups before, they basically had to send that to China. They couldn't really do it locally. Now they can do it locally, and that saves huge amounts of time. Well, time is the big thing, but it saves money as well.
Carrie, we've heard this term. What is China? We've heard this term a couple of times.
I don't know, but there's a lot of problems over there these days.
A lot of stuff coming back.
A lot of stuff coming back. Bring it back to North America.
Yeah.
But you're also seeing a company like Hallmark and that they go out now and instead of getting $1.99 for a card, they're getting $4.99 for the card because they got a cut. And I can tell you that's not all labor.
Right.
And so they're able to capitalize on this, and they're doing phenomenal things, and all the power to them. They've got a niche market, and they're actually bringing it to. I've seen some of their designs out there, and they're beautiful.
Yeah, this stuff's amazing.
That's great.
I mean, the greeting card market it's funny you bring that up because the people that are doing are the design firm working on our invitation for our annual open house party fundraiser have said, we should make some cards and open up a store, which we actually are in the midst of doing anyway for something else, and selling these things online because there are some amazing stuff, and now designers can, sell their own designs.
That's great. So that's one new opportunity we could see in the future is the ability for designers to set up their own on-demand business through web shops. Anything else you guys can think of that operational changes that you might want to make or new opportunities that you see in the future? Maybe you could start, Jay?
Well, there's something, but I just can't tell you. It's a secret. I'd have to shoot you. But we don't allow
you guys always do that.
Everything's coming down to, people say print's dead. It's not dead, as you heard me say earlier. But, the run lengths are reducing, and things are required faster. So digital is expanding, just beyond we can even imagine keeping up with it. And, of course, clients are spoiled now. So anything that you can add to this sort of stuff, I'm sure you're going to be seeing, a machine with foil pretty soon that can, Highcon's probably working on that right now. You never know. There's, machines like the Scodex, which, can do the spot coatings. With the way inkjet technology is going and digital presses are going, it's the challenge is technology is going so fast, and not everybody can afford it, unfortunately, because the market is tough on printers. So I think what you're going to see is a lot more consolidation and a lot more people partnering together. So when you talk about trade work, there'll probably be a lot of opportunities where you can work with people that not necessarily are your competitors. So I think that will help, and that will allow for more development. There's certainly a lot of R&D going on, and what's going on with Benny Landa and everybody in Israel, I can only imagine what's going to happen next. It's going to be amazing.
Well, I've had the fortune to be non-disclosed on a lot of things that are going to be at Graph Expo, so I think it's going to be a very interesting show from this perspective. So.
Yeah, I think if anybody is not going there, they should. I'm going to be working 6 different booths at Graph Expo this year and doing 4 different lectures. But you're right. You're going to see some pretty amazing stuff. And
it's not even Drupa year.
Well, so, Drupa, you want Drupa, go to Drupa for sure. There are some amazing things at
exactly.
Drupa.
Technology changes too fast now, so you can't wait for Drupa anymore. It just changes too fast.
Drupa is going to have machines where you don't even need operators. You just push a button and it prints it. Yeah. Customers go, I guess it's going to be cheaper, right?
Yeah.
And now it's every 3 years. Oh, my feet hurt already thinking about it.
It's Florida next year, right? We're going to Orlando. We're going to Disney World.
Graph Expo. For Graph Expo,
that's interesting. Yeah. After how many years?
Yeah. So maybe, and I don't know if you had something to add to that last thing, Ward and
I'll leave
Ward
that
and
to Bill.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe you could add to that. We have a few minutes left, but if you want to add to the opportunities you see or operational changes you think you're going to make, and when you're talking about that, maybe you could clarify. Do you believe that you have to have a digital press to take advantage of this, or could you run it with flexo and offset, other printing technologies?
Well, you certainly, as we already mentioned, you can put conventionally offset printed sheets through the Highcon. That's not a problem. But I think what we haven't really talked about, we just mentioned short run on digital. Short run's one aspect of it, but there seems to be an awful huge demand out there for variable data. Variable data is a little difficult for us to run on an offset press. So that we're not doing. So that having the digital press did open up a whole new avenue. Everybody's familiar with the Coke program and what they did with those cans and the labels as well. So that was Share a Coke program. So everybody's got a name on it. So variable data is pretty important, and we're taking advantage of that situation. So yes, the structure may be the same on all of them. Maybe the graphics change. Maybe the graphics the same, or the structure changes in some way by either etching in or a different cut. So just having that capability for the designers, we don't know what we're going to do tomorrow. It's just, it's way different. It's just the whole day is variable. The plan is variable. We just try to bring more opportunities to the table tomorrow.
And in answer, Carrie, I can also just add on that. So we have screen presses. So we're running something right now that we've put through the screen press. The magazine cover that we're printing is on an XL Heidelberg 40-inch. That is on a sheet fed, and we have a job we're just doing right now on our iGen. So all three mediums are working fine. There's no issue.
And when you say screen press, you mean screen inkjet?
No, I mean a screen press, traditional screen
printer.
Like a regular screen printer. Okay, screen printing. Okay.
Yeah, we have 3 CS screen printers that are from Italy. We took over a screen printing company, yeah.
And the other topic that we didn't really get to that we had a question about is substrates. And maybe Ward and Bill, you could address this since you've been using this longer. What are some, you mentioned up to 24 point, but how thin can you get, and what kind of substrates are you typically using?
Our sweet spot is in the mid-teens, but we do go all the way down to 8 point to 24 point. The Highcon, I think we've gone as low as 10 point on the Highcon, and we're cutting all kinds of different substrates on the Highcon. So we have done some fluted stock as well, but CCNB, SBS, foils, you name it. We're cutting and creasing a lot of different stocks. So everything for us it's a learning curve as you try to work out the best way to crease this particular substrate or this particular caliper. But once you've decided it and figured that out, all of that's savable. So you're gonna save your program on how you cut that substrate before, and so that's repeatable going back to it the next time.
That's great.
Great. Carrie, can I take a shot at answering a couple of these questions real quickly?
Sure.
So there's a few questions which have come in here, which is great. So we have just signed a deal on a Scodex answer to that question, and we see that a great technology. Getting designers, as you show, as events and getting pieces out there and talking with them is really important. As far as training on the machine, really less than 2 weeks you're up and running, and as you just heard, it's trying different substrates, but the technology's all there. Highcon has got us wired right into technical support, which is absolutely fantastic. So and we're working with other partners that have the same machine, so you're really up in no time, and you can train almost anybody. It's a very easy machine to operate, very operator friendly, and it's just a great piece of machinery. There's not a lot required. The installations, like you heard, is very, very fast, and costs are very reasonable for all this stuff. So it's just great. That was
great.
Well, pardon me? Oh, plug and play, right? Plug and play.
Yeah.
Love it. So we just have a few minutes left. Maybe each of you could just, if you have a couple of wrap-up comments that you want to share. You want to start, Ward and Bill?
Go ahead, Ward.
Well, I just think that again, you had to come in with a clean mind of that you were going to help grow your business and you're going to grow your customers' business, that it's what you do and you can't be bashful to ask for the money. It's not about the money today and what you're charging people. It's about getting the solution. It's about bringing solutions and bringing people, differentiating customers so that they can look different in the marketplace. That's what we do. That's what we're meant to do, and that's what keeps us a position within our markets. Without it, we're done. And I think that as an influencer, yes, I think we're very much an influencer, but I think our partner within HP and Highcon have made it very, very good for us to do this, because you have technical people that are right there working with you to grow this business.
That's terrific. Jay, did you want to add any closing comments?
Oh, that's great what he just said. And I wish more people would take that to heart. I think traditionally, I've done 14 acquisitions in the last few years. I'm also in the midst of working on 12 others with printers in the States where they've brought me in as a consultant to try to facilitate the deal. And the biggest thing I notice is people are they're afraid to charge for things. They think it's all about price. And, we have salesmen, and if we have 20 salesmen, X amount are order takers and the X amount are really salesmen. We really need to charge for what we do. We're professionals. We got a huge investment in this industry and in equipment. And like he says, don't give it away. You don't need to give it away. It's easy to lower the price. But you have something that's unique like this, please don't give it away.
That's
please.
A really good point. Yeah, that's a really
no, but we're afraid. Like, everybody's wondering why I have no problem losing work to my competitor, but I hope he's going to make money on the job. He doesn't need to be 30% less. Charge what you need to charge.
That's good advice. Well, I want to really thank everybody on the call for joining us for this really great program. A lot of energy and enthusiasm here. One of the most enthusiastic webinars I've done in a while, and a special thank you to the guys in Massachusetts and Toronto for taking your time. I know you're all busy, but we really appreciate you sharing the information about how digital finishing has helped you with your business and helped your customers. I know that our listeners are going to want to come back to this session and listen to it again or share the link with friends and colleagues. Do apologize that the link for the PDF of the slides was not correct. We are going to be emailing that PDF out to everybody or emailing you a link for it, one or the other. So watch your email for that. Thanks again to our friends at Highcon for their generous sponsorship of this event. Highcon's really, as we mentioned earlier, is pleased to announce that Bill Lorenz, Jay Mandarino, and Peter Dahmen will all be in their booth at Graph Expo, which is booth 1939. So I think if you have a chance to stop by and see them, I don't think there'll be equipment there, but there are going to be a ton of samples and some experts that can really help you talk through the situation. Stay tuned for news about future What They Think webinars, and be sure to check out the webinar section on What They Think for great archived sessions that you might have missed. We do hope you found today's session helpful as you think about the future of your business. Thanks again, everybody, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.